Good morning everyone, welcome back to Motosoul. And in today's video we are going to talk about the RX100 and the RX135 and which one is better for you. I usually get a lot of questions asking which one to buy, an RX100 or the RX135. So in this video we would be talking about both these motorcycles and in which terms they are better in terms of performance and as overall as a bike, and which motorcycle you should choose for yourself. So let's start with the RX100. Now this is 1989 model. The RX100 first launched in 1986, and it was in production until 1996, and then the RXG was launched, and then in 97, and from 98 onwards the RXG has been renamed as RX135. So this is the 2002 RX135 and that is the 1989 Yamaha RX100. Both these legendary motorcycles are different, though they look the same and they share the same body parts. They are very different in terms of engine. Now to give you a brief look about the motorcycle, both the motorcycles share a lot of similar parts: the front tire, the front rims, the rear rim, the tank side covers, the headlight, the speedometer, the pilot boxes, the indicators. Those are mostly the same on the RX100 and the 135, though the 135 doesn't get a carrier like this. I have installed the carrier and I've also removed the original chain cover. This is the Yamaha Enticer chain cover. I've removed the full chain cover. So, and the RX135 silencer is different, though it looks the same. It is different from the inside. It would sound different on the RX100. If you install the 135 silencer on an RX100, it would sound very different. So both the bikes share very similar parts, like the front fork assembly. The whole fork is similar to the RX135, though it was changed in some models, like the last 2005 model has a different fork setup, and the engine is different altogether. Now the head is different, the bore is different. The chambers are almost the same but not exactly the same. The crank is different, the gearbox is different, so the carburetor is also different, and it also has a power box here. And coming over to the RX100, this is not stock. I have to replace it with the stock head, and this doesn't have a power box, as you can see, and that is the reason you don't have the YEIS technology, YEIS, Yamaha Energy Induction Technology. This is what it stands for. This is the power box technology that the RX135 has and the RX100 doesn't. So this is the side oil, and both the bikes are running on side oil right now, not premix. I occasionally mix oil in the tank as well, just to be on the safer side. And you can check out the recent video that I made on my RX135 and all the mods and everything on the 135. So RX100 has a different silencer, it has a different engine altogether, and this whole engine is different, the carburetor is different, the electronics are different. There are a lot of parts in the engine that are very different on the RX100 and on the RX135. We would be taking the bikes on a short spin, and I'll be explaining about the power and everything once we start the motorcycles and start riding. So to give you an idea, the RX100 is the older one, so basically the RX135 has better lighting because of the ignition, and it also produces more current that could charge the battery. So that is very different on the 135. If you compare it with the RX100, RX100 has low light, not so great performance on the headlight, the tail light, and overall current. Even if you have fog lamps, it would have little bit problem compensating for charging the battery while you use the fog lamps. So on the RX135, that has improved. So this is more refined. The RX135 is more refined of a motorcycle, and the RX100 is the older iconic legend. Now you cannot get the RX100 iconic sound on the 135. 135 sounds very different, though it looks the same. The engine makes the sound very different. On the RX100, it's very iconic. If you just want to go for the exhaust note, you should go for the RX100. There is no way you can get that on the 135. Even if you install the stock silencer of the RX100, you cannot get it on the 135. So what's better on the RX100 is that you get a beautiful low end power. Now 0 to 60 is amazing on the RX100, but once you pass 60, that's where the RX135 4-speed comes in. Now to give you an idea, I would prefer the RX100 for city riding and the 135 for long rides, because it is easy for the RX135 to cruise on 80-90 than to cruise the RX100 on 80-90. So that's the whole difference. Now before we start riding, let me start the motorcycle, and you can hear both the motorcycles one by one. We'll start with the RX100 first, and then we'll ride the 135. Now let's start the motorcycles. So now we would be riding the RX100, and this is officially 11 bhp. Now 11 bhp might not sound huge, but on a motorcycle that just weighs 95 kgs and is a 2-stroke engine, this is a lot of power, and you can feel that right away because of the power to weight ratio. Now this motorcycle has a custom muffler, and it is very loud. Even the downshift sound a lot better. So if you are a fan of this exhaust note, you should get the RX100 for sure. There is no replacement. Now you cannot get this in the RX135, and as I said, 0 to 60 on RX100 is amazing. पॉकेट रॉकेट बोलते हैं ना, वैसा है। तो असली में पॉकेट रॉकेट के साथ निकलने वाली गाड़ी कोई है बोले तो ये अपने पास। 6 साल से गाड़ी है मेरे पास, लेकिन every time I take this out, I just get goosebumps all over my body. Now I cannot explain or show you the power that I feel on my RX100 and the RX135. That is not visible on camera. You can just feel that, and the overall motorcycle feel on the RX100 is more raw, and it is not refined as the RX135, but that is in a good way. हर चीज़ में मतलब अगर RX100 RX135 जैसे स्मूथ रही तो RX100 का मतलब ही नहीं है. I'm not saying that the RX100 is rough or a bad engine, but if you compare it with the RX135, the RX135 is a refined version. It is smooth and has top end power, mid to top end बोल सकते. Whereas the RX100 0 to 60 क्या जाती होगी. खाली टनल के पास गए तो पागल ही हो जाना. ये जो आवाज़ है, ये आवाज़ के लिए है RX100. 135 कितना भी चलाओ, मैं जब 100 चलाता हूँ ना, एक अलग फीलिंग रहती. सो फॉर सिटी राइडिंग I would definitely recommend RX100. Now I normally don't ride on this loud muffler every time on my RX100. I change it occasionally. So if you guys are into the market to get an RX100, make sure you check the papers. And if you compare an RX100 with 135, when you're buying a motorcycle, the RX100 is almost twice the age. So when you find an RX100, it won't be in a good shape. फैक्ट्री पेंट पे तो बहुत मुश्किल है गाड़ी मिलना. मिली भी तो फेडेड रहता पूरा कलर एंड एवरीथिंग. So if you want a city bike, and if you love the stock exhaust of the RX100 and the way it sounds, then there is no replacement. You don't have a choice, but you have to go for an RX100. But if you want to ride the motorcycle, and if you want to go on long rides, now I've done RX rides on my RX100 more than my RX135. Long rides, 1500 kilometers, yeah, 1000 kilometers, yeah, 500 kilometers ki ride. I've always done it on my RX100 till date. From now on, that might change, but not for long. वो कैसा है, अपन बोलते हैं ना, डेली ड्राइवर के लिए एक डेली ड्राइवर लेते, वैसा है. So even if you have an RX100, you will have the urge of getting a 135. So this is a 4-speed, and the RX135 that I have, that is also 4-speed. There is a 5-speed version as well. I have made a video on the differences between a 4-speed to 5-speed conversion, and I also made a 5-speed walk around and walk through video. You can check that as well. And for long rides, I don't mean to say that this wouldn't go above 60. What I mean to say is RX100 पे long rides पे it would touch 100 आराम से, no problem. Even if you want to cruise at 90, you can do that all day long. Whenever I ride, I normally keep my speed between 80 to 90 in most cases. With the pillion and with all the luggage. With all the luggage, I still ride at 80 to 90, sometimes 95. And you can do all
all day long, मतलब पूरा दिन भी अगर चला सके तो चला सकते हैं RX100 को. It's just that you will have to be on full throttle. Even if not on full throttle, 75% of the throttle. But on the RX135 it is completely different.